vyadhaya klesha Daiva bhutatmahetavaha Ajata shatra vabhavan Jantunam rajnikarhi chet Nadayo vyadhaya klesha Daiva bhutatmahetavaha Ajata shatra vabhavan Jantunam rajnikarhi chet Matajis. Na, never. Adhayaha, anxieties. Vyadhayaha, diseases. Kleshaha, trouble due to excessive heat and cold. Daiva bhuta atma, all due to the body, supernatural power, and other living beings. Hetavaha, due to the cause of. Ajata shatrau, unto one who has no enemy. Abhavan, happened. Jantunam, of the living beings. Rajni, unto the king. Karhichet, at any time. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Due to the kings having no enemy, the living beings were not at any time disturbed by mental agonies, diseases, or excessive heat or cold. Kindly repeat. Due to the kings having no enemy, the living beings were not at any time disturbed by mental agonies, diseases, or excessive heat or cold. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. To be non-violent to human beings and to be a killer or enemy of the poor animals is Satan's philosophy. In this age, there is enmity against poor animals, and therefore the poor creatures are always anxious. The reaction of the poor animals is being forced on human society, and therefore there is always the strain of cold or hot war between men, individually, collectively, or nationally. At the time of Maharaj Yudhishthira, there were no different nations, although there were different subordinate states. The whole world was united, and the supreme head, being a trained king like Yudhishthira, kept all the inhabitants free from anxiety, diseases, and excessive heat and cold. They were not only economically well-to-do, but also they were physically fit and undisturbed by supernatural power, by enmity of other living beings, and by disturbance of bodily and mental agonies. There is a proverb in Bengali that a bad king spoils the kingdom, and a bad housewife spoils the family. This truth is applicable here also. Because the king was pious, obedient to the Lord and sages, because he was no one's enemy, and because he was a recognized agent of the Lord, and therefore protected by him, all the citizens under the king's protection were, so to speak, directly protected by the Lord and his authorized agents. Unless one is pious and recognized by the Lord, he cannot make others happy who are under his care. There is full cooperation between man and God and man and nature, and this conscious cooperation between man and God and man and nature, as exemplified by King Yudhishthira, can bring about happiness, peace, and prosperity in the world. The attitude of exploiting one another, the custom of the day, will only bring misery. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam Pangum langhayate girim Yat kripatamaham mande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Last few days, the news has been dominated by the ongoing tussle between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. So they are both blowing hot and cold. Few months back, when the presidential election was held, Elon Musk was one of the biggest supporters of Donald Trump. And so much money he gave, so much campaigns he did on his behalf, etc. And something went wrong between them, and a few days back, then they were at each other like anything, as if they were bitter enemies. And then after that, they made up, apparently. And then again, now, again it is, they are practically antagonistic towards each other. So you see how, and also, one more thing that has been doing the rounds is that July 4th is the Independence Day in the United States. So a campaign has been planned, Free America, to dislodge Donald Trump. There is there's going to be a lot of demonstrations against him. So you see how the people voted for and elected a president. And the same people who voted for him, now they are turning against him. And there is a lot of back and forth going about how he is not doing this right, he is not doing that right, demonstrations, and people vocally talking about this, all these kind of things. So in this material world, what happens is, today's times, the leaders, somehow or the other, they want to grab the power. Somehow they get the votes and promise the moon to the voters and finally come to power. And after a little while, the voters get disenchanted. Then they say, we want change. We don't want this person. Why? Because the leaders, they are not taking care of the citizens. If the leaders were to take care of the citizens, then citizens would all be happy and satisfied. Then there is no question of demonstrating against the rulers, against the leaders. Like we are seeing here, When Yudhishthira Maharaj was ruling, he was ruling not just one country. He was ruling over the entire world, the entire earth. And there were no demonstrations against him. There were not people, talking against him, wanting him to step down, replace him with another king. None of those things were there. So, the duty of the leaders is to ensure that the citizens are peaceful and they are satisfied. This is very important. Unless the leaders do this, this is their first priority. This is their first duty. If they don't do that, the citizens will become unhappy. In fact, here it is said, Nadayo Vyadaya Klesha. The king's responsibility was so much that he had to ensure that the citizens were not troubled by mental agonies, nor by diseases, nor by excessive heat or cold. Now, how can the leader take care of this? Okay, you can say that the leader can take care of the mental agonies to some extent. He can take care of the economic development. He can ensure social security. He can ensure that medical campaigns are conducted to ensure that people's mental health is maintained, etc., etc. And as far as diseases are concerned, again, medical insurance, ensuring that all the hospitals are up to date, and all these kind of things, you can say that there is some effort which can be done by the leaders. But what about excessive heat or cold? What can the leaders do about that? There is nothing they can do about that. So the only thing that the leaders can do is to fund technological advancement and say that technology and science will help us to address the problems of people's mental agonies, diseases, and addressing the vagaries of weather. So, a lot of money is invested in research, a lot of medical advancement is done. What is the intention? Diseases may be reduced, treatments may be available for people so that all the diseases can be cured. And naturally, one of the aspects of medical science is also to take care of the mental health of the people. Advancements in psychiatry, etc. So all these ways we can help people to overcome the problems due to diseases and mental agonies. And science and technology is advancing. We now have artificial intelligence. We have so many, communication has become so rapid, and in your hand, you can hold a mobile phone, and communication has become so fast, so quick, so easy. And so much advancement technology has made, so we will come there. We will very quickly get there. We will soon be there. We will be able to control we will be able to take care of even the weather, climate, etc., and make everything very comfortable for the people. We are even started sending people out of space. We are sending people on various missions. They go to outer space and come back. So man is conquering different frontiers. So soon this will also happen. So to describe this, Prabhupada recounted one experience he had. This was probably in the 1930s, about 100 years before. So quite a long time ago. So Prabhupada at that time was in Prayagraj, Allahabad. He was running his pharmacy there. And it so happened that Prabhupada had some legal issues, and Prabhupada had to go to the High Court. In the state of Uttar Pradesh, the High Court sits in the city of Allahabad. And Allahabad was where Prabhupada was practicing also. Of course, those days it was the British Raj, and the British rule was there. And because the Britishers were ruling, the advocates were called barristers. And normally people would engage British-born barristers to fight the cases. British barristers means they were considered very capable, very efficient, very knowledgeable, and you have a very high chance of being able to win the case if you have got a British barrister on your side. So Prabhupada had some legal issue for which he had to go to the High Court. And Prabhupada, when he went to the High Court, he witnessed another case which was going on. So what had happened was, in Allahabad, there was a doctor who was practicing with his clinic. And in India, even today, you'll find many places where doctors have their individual clinics. It may not be part of any big hospital like that, but small individual person, he has one outlet where he treats people, he does his consultancy. And those days, they used to have one compounder, assistant also with them. The doctor will diagnose the patient, use a stethoscope or whatever, diagnose the patient. Those days, there were no labs. All that the doctor had was his stethoscope. And he would check the patient, and then he would prescribe some medicines. The patient will take it to the compounder, the assistant, and he will pull out all the medicines and give it to them. So this used to be the system. So there was this one doctor in Allahabad who was practicing in a similar way. He had his clinic, and he had an assistant to help him. And somehow, unfortunately, this assistant of the doctor entered into an illicit affair with the doctor's wife. And the assistant and the doctor's wife were into this affair, and things were going on like this under the doctor's nose. But eventually, somehow, the doctor discovered this. So he became very angry, and he became vengeful. This man, he has my assistant, he is working under me, taking my salary from me, and he is stealing my wife. So he became really vengeful. So one day, but he did not divulge to the assistant that he has come to know of the truth. So he called the assistant to his room, to his consultation room. And when the assistant entered the room, this doctor used chloroform, and the assistant became unconscious. And as soon as the assistant became unconscious, he's a doctor, he took a scalpel or whatever, he cut the throat of the assistant and murdered him. And after murdering him, he packed the body of the assistant in a suitcase, and he fully closed it, and he took it out of his clinic, wanting to dispose the body somewhere. And this way he could escape from the law. That was his intention. So when he came out of the clinic and he was carrying the suitcase with the body stuffed inside, he was walking on the road. What happened? One policeman was passing by. And the policeman he observed that there is blood dripping from the suitcase. So he stopped the doctor and he asked him, "What is there inside? I want to see." So the doctor could not do anything. He was caught. He was nabbed. And so immediately the policeman, he arrested the doctor. He was taken to jail. And naturally, all the case was going on in the court. The judiciary had to hear it. And that case, when it came to the court, Prabhupada also happened to be there. When Prabhupada went for his case to the High Court, in front of Prabhupada, this case was going on. The advocates were pleading the case and all that, and the public prosecutor was presenting all the evidence against the doctor who was accused of the murder. So the evidence was heavily stacked against the doctor. So the judge passed a judgment saying that this man has been found guilty, he is convicted, and he should be hanged to death. He was given the death sentence. So this doctor became very perturbed. "Oh, I've been given the death sentence. Now what will happen?" And he had engaged a British barrister to plead his case, and he had lost the case. So the British barrister walked up to the doctor, his client. He patted him on his back and he said, "Don't worry. You go get hanged. In the meantime, I'll appeal for your case." So Prabhupada said, "I saw this in front of my eyes. What is this advocate misleading his client? That you go get hanged. In the meantime, I will appeal and we will win in the higher court. Don't worry." Advocates are like that. They will give all sorts of assurances to their clients. We have also experienced this. When our case was going on in the lower court, higher court, everywhere the advocates would Our advocates who were there would give all assurance. Yes, yes, our case is very strong, we will win. But in the High Court, we lost. And then when we went to the Supreme Court, there also, we are very strong, don't worry, we will win it and all that. But by then, we knew, well, all their assurances are one side. We have to depend on the Lord. So every day we used to offer those prayers. If you, oh my Lord, if you so wish, you please protect us so that we don't, our following your order is not disturbed, if the Lord wishes. So we depended on the Lord's protection and prayed to them that as per their wish, if they could protect us. If not, it was their will. So I am sure on the opposition side also, they also would have given them all kinds of assurance. No, don't worry, we will win, our case is strong, all that. But they lost. One person has to win, another person has to lose. Nobody can win all the things, no. But advocates are like that. Even you go to doctors also, they are also like that. You take this treatment, you take this injection, you'll become all right. Don't worry. We have diagnosed you, this is the problem. We have your back, don't worry. We'll cure you. They'll give all assurances. But you see, in fact, I was reading somewhere, there was a report that the second leading cause, I think, second or third, leading cause of death in the United States. First leading cause of death in the United States is heart ailments, heart attacks and things like that. Second leading cause, second or third, whatever, the leading cause of so many thousands of deaths in the United States is wrong treatment by the doctors. You see, doctors are the cause of more deaths than any other disease. So if the patient had not gone to the doctor for a treatment, probably he would have survived. Because he went to the doctor, he took some prescription drug and he died. So you see, Prabhupada gave this example of advocates and doctors giving all kinds of assurances. Although the result is going to be the reverse. Prabhupada said, similarly, all the scientists are also giving assurances. No, don't worry, we have done this, we have achieved this, we have come till here, we will get there. We will overcome death, we will overcome disease, we will overcome old age, even the vagaries of the weather we will be able to control. We have done so much, so now this is just a few steps away. I remember about 15 years back, there was a front page article, newspaper, the front page, almost half a page article, about how a scientist in the West, maybe in the United States or Europe somewhere, he had managed to separate that part of the DNA which causes aging. And so the article was talking about how he had done research for so many years on mice, on a control group of mice, and he had been able to segregate that portion of the DNA, and in those control group of mice, they removed the DNA. Actually, the aging stopped. So we have the solution. Aging is finished. Soon we will conquer death. And blah, blah, blah. The article went on about how many people, how many teams, how long they were doing this and all these kind of things. And in the last few lines, 2-3 lines were there, which was what caught my attention. I was waiting, I was reading the whole article, trying to figure out where is the catch. And the catch was in the last line. The last line said, during the course of their experiments, the scientists, they discovered that the same DNA, which is DNA, RNA, or whatever that is, or chromosome, I don't know, I don't remember what exactly, but that which is stopping aging, which is causing aging, and which they removed, and because of that, they actually could stop aging in the mice. So they discovered that same DNA which is causing aging is also preventing cancer. So because they removed those DNAs from the mice stopped aging, but they got cancer and died. So you stopped aging, but you killed them. So what is the use of this? So the assurances by the scientists, by the by the doctors and by the medical fraternity. We will stop old age, we will stop death, is all like this. In fact, if you look at how the civilization today is where it is. In the beginning of the 20th century, there was this industrial revolution. And because of that, the way things are produced, how the, on an industrial scale, on a mass scale, the products can be produced in a central location, in a central factory, and that can be sent out to the market. That kind of revolution in the thinking came about by the industrial revolution. Before that also the same products were getting made. It's not that people did not have these things. Clothes were there and all kinds of products, everything was getting produced. But then those were all by individuals, and that was being done in a decentralized way. I remember in my childhood, about 40 years back, in India, we used to have cobblers sitting at every street corners. You wanted to buy a slipper, you go to the cobbler, he will have a few sets there. You choose something which you like. And suppose because he's a small cobbler, he will not have many products, many range. So maybe you may like a nice design of a slipper or a shoe, but your size is not available. Then he will take the measurements and he will tell, come back after a week. And after a week you go, he would have made it ready. So that used to be the system, decentralized, individuals making all these things. And then a few years later came these big companies, big names, brands. They started opening showrooms in different parts of the city. And you walk into the showroom, you have all kinds of models, you have all kinds of sizes. Just walk in, pay the money, wear your shoe or slipper and walk out. You don't have to wait for the cobbler to make it ready for you. So the same slipper was there earlier also. Earlier also people were wearing footwear. But it was being made in a decentralized model. People, at individual level, they were making it. When they made factories, production houses, they could produce on a large scale at a centralized location and then distribute it. So this change in the way the society functioned came about because of the industrial revolution. Also after that came the way people commuted. People used to use horse-drawn carriages, bullock carts. People used to walk long distances. This used to be boats, ships. These were the ways that people were traveling. But it used to take a lot of time. So then came along the motor car, saying that this is a very environmentally clean solution for the horses which are creating so much pollution, passing horse dung everywhere. Actually, this was the marketing which was done when the motor cars were produced and they wanted the people to buy. So they said this is an environmentally clean solution. And today we know what environmentally clean it is. So the way people traveled, that changed with all these modern inventions and gadgets. Then came the IT revolution, information technology. Now the way we communicate has also changed, vastly changed. So you see, all these changes in the civilization have happened by all these scientific discoveries, inventions. So when we look at all these things, really the civilization has undergone a vast change. The way we were 100 years back, 150 years back, the way the civilization is today completely different. So on the strength of all these inventions, discoveries and changes that have come about, the scientists say we will solve the problems of disease, old age, and the disturbances that are coming into our lives due to natural calamities, the changes in the weather and things like that. But fact is, although so many inventions, discoveries have all happened, none of them have addressed the problems of the three kleshas. Adhyatmika klesha, Adidaivika klesha, and Adibhautika klesha. These three kleshas used to torment the people before science and technology evolved in the way it has today, it is troubling the people even today. None of the discoveries and inventions have actually addressed these three fundamental problems, nor the problems of birth, death, disease, and old age. These things have not been addressed. Science has discovered drugs, discovered hospitals, discovered scanning machines, MRIs, innumerable equipment, and all these kind of things they have discovered. But as they are discovering and improving medical science more and more, diseases are also increasing. Diseases have not stopped troubling the people. So Adhyatmika Klesha, Adhidaivika Klesha, Adhibhautika Klesha, they have not stopped. None of the discoveries or inventions have solved these problems. But the message given is, no, don't worry, we are there, just there. We have discovered the DNA which stops aging. We are going to stop it. It has actually not stopped. It is going on. So, but then, does that mean that there is no solution to these problems? Yes, there is a solution. We can be free from Adhidaivika Klesha, Adhibhautika Klesha, Adhyatmika Klesha. Miseries arising out of our own body and mind, miseries arising out of other living entities, miseries arising out of natural causes. We can become we can lead a life which is free from all this. But the way we are trying to do it in the modern society is wrong. That is the example being given in the Srimad Bhagavatam during the rule of Yudhishthira Maharaj. Nadayo vyadaha klesha daiva bhutatma hetavaha. Daiva bhuta atma. The Adidaivika Klesha, Adhibhautika Klesha, Adhyatmika Klesha. They did not exist. They did not trouble the citizens during Yudhishthira Maharaj's time. Why? Because Ajata Satrava Bhavan Jantunam Rajni Karhichit. Because Yudhishthira Maharaj had no enemy. He did not behave inimically towards others. In other words, so somebody can question, but Yudhishthira Maharaj had enemies. Duryodhana was his enemy, the Kauravas were his enemy, Karna was his enemy. How can he say that he is Ajata Shatru, that no enemy was ever born to him? The fact is that Yudhishthira Maharaj never was envious towards any other living entity. He never, from his side, behaved inimically, enviously towards anybody else, towards any other living entities, not just human beings. Even animals also, he never behaved inimically, or he never behaved enviously towards others. So he never behaved in a way which created enemies. But Duryodhana was an envious person, Karna was an envious person. So they became inimical towards Yudhishthira Maharaj for no fault of his. So you cannot fault Yudhishthira Maharaj because Duryodhana and Karna became his enemies. So factually speaking, Yudhishthira Maharaj never behaved in such a way as to, deserve the enmity of Duryodhana and Karna. But then they were envious, so they became his enemies. So because Yudhishthira Maharaj was free from all kinds of envy, and why was he free from envy? Because he was a pure devotee of Krishna. So if the ruler is a pure devotee of Krishna, he is a true representative of Krishna, then what will happen? All the living entities, including human beings and animals, as well as mountains, forests, rivers, oceans, they would all become cooperative with the king, with the leader. If the leader is not a devotee of Krishna, then it will only foment all kinds of conflicts, which is what we are seeing in the world today. No matter how much majority a leader gets and he becomes the president or the prime minister or whatever of the country, there will be so many people opposing him. The moment he ascends to the leadership position, immediately there will be protests. There will be people who will denounce him, who will criticize him. Every action of the leader is under the scanner. Every word he says, every step he takes, every rule he brings in, everything comes under the scanner. Just like we are seeing how Donald Trump, He will stumble one step, that will become a news. He will say one sentence, it will become a news. And that will be dissected and criticized, and people will, ask him, you have to step down because of this. His own supporters are now against him. So this is the nature of the world. If the leader is not a devotee of Krishna, he cannot expect cooperation from all the living entities. So citizens themselves will not cooperate. Even material nature will also not cooperate. You will have nature exhibiting its fury. There will be tornadoes. There will be earthquakes. There will be floods. There will be excessive heat. There will be excessive cold. Even material nature will also not cooperate with such a leader. But then Yudhishthira Maharaj was a pure devotee. So therefore the hills, the mountains, the rivers, the plants, the trees, the animals, all the citizens, all the kings of the subordinate kings of all the states, all of them cooperated with Yudhishthira Maharaj. So much so that Adayo Vayadaya Klesha, all the three kleshas become non-existent in his kingdom. The citizens became extremely peaceful and satisfied. When the citizens are peaceful and satisfied, why will they demonstrate against the leader? Why will they do it? They will not do it. So the key to human peace and prosperity, not only human peace and prosperity, world peace and prosperity, including that of the animals. We cannot expect that human beings will live comfortably when thousands of animals are being sent to the slaughterhouse. You cannot expect. Material nature reaction will come from material nature. So therefore, if we want real prosperity, it has to be all-inclusive. Even animals also should be included in the scope of the welfare, not just human beings. And that is possible only when the leader is non-envious. If the leader has envy towards the animals, he will allow slaughterhouses to function. So, when we speak of Yudhishthira Maharaj as Ajatashatru, he being a pure devotee, he had no envy even towards animals, plants, trees, none of them. And so therefore, everybody cooperated with him, and the life on earth became extremely pleasing. So this is possible even today, provided the leader is a pure devotee. Otherwise, we can go on casting votes, we can go on electing new leader after new leader, we can keep trying, it will not work. This is the lesson we have to learn from this today's verse. So Yudhishthira Maharaj, wonderful ruling, so much so that the citizen, the living beings, Jantunam, not just human beings, none of the living beings, including plants, trees, animals, were at any time disturbed by mental agonies, diseases, or excessive heat or cold. This was the wonderful ruling of Yudhishthira Maharaj. So therefore, we should not repose our faith in modern science and leaders who keep promising us all kinds of things, that we will make America great again, we will make this country, India, great again, we will do this, we will do that, all the problems will be solved. It's not going to happen. It's only, it will only remain a pipe dream. The real welfare, peace and prosperity can come when the leader is a devotee. When all the citizens get together and elect a devotee of Krishna to the throne, to the executive head position, only then we can expect real peace and prosperity for everyone. So I'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai